Okay. Three,
Two.
two, one.
Welcome to the 82,000th episode of the King Bear podcast. I am Che Guevara,
And I am Fidel Castro.
and this is the Republic of Cuba talking about the World Cup campaign of the great, glorious Pakistan cricket team.
First, we should talk about, because we've heard complaints from our audience. Cricket is a game played between two teams of 11 who fight it out with a bat and a ball
On a pitch that is merely 22 yards, but in those 22 yards, you decide between glory and hell.
and the batter protects three sticks which a bowler has to hit,
That is one
which
way
is the
to
essence of
put
cricket.
it. Yes.
It is this doing and undoing of the sticks, which
The being and becoming.
becoming of the sticks, which makes this sport so beautiful, and the size of the boundaries.
And we do this so that people who don't know what cricket is get an introduction to cricket before we start talking about it. And those were also the complaints that sometimes we talk about so many inside jokes that it's difficult to understand what we're talking about.
For the outside world.
Yes, for the layperson, the peasant, the imbecile, the
farmer.
proletariat, so to speak. And as you know or you don't, the Cricket World Cup is going on, which happens every 4 years. And every 4 years we have a Pakistan team that are hot favorites, and they end up losing the World Cup by quite a magnificent way. So what is the story this time around, Arham?
So we came in as the number one ODI team, and we've left as actually the second worst of the top 8 nations. Only bettered, I think, better than England at this point. I think the equation before the World Cup started बहुत simple सी थी कि अफगानिस्तान से तो जीत जाना है, नेदरलैंड से जीत जाना है, बांग्लादेश से जीत जाना है. इसके अलावा we need to win 3 games, one of which we won against Sri Lanka, and then we were expecting victories against one of the Cena nations, what they call it. And this is not John Cena. Let's also clarify that. This is
South Africa, England, New Zealand, and Australia.
And we lost to all of them, and we're about to in process of losing to England, because I don't see any meaning to this game, to be honest. We lost the game at the toss.
Yes, and this will effectively end our campaign of the Cricket World Cup, and we will go back home, and then we will go back to Australia to face what might be and has historically been one of the most grueling tours that we ever have to take. It's going to be hot and sticky, and it's going to be tough, and
that sounds like
you will be in for a battering.
Yes. That sounds like my childhood as well. Anyway, so we were talking about how the World Cup campaign went. Of course, we didn't qualify, but let's kind of get into the nitty-gritties of all the matches that were happening outside India. I think the first move was Saka Ashraf coming in as chairman right before the Asia Cup. In place of Najam Sethi.
Yeah, so this is a man who is usually the case with the PCB chairman, a political appointment, and he came in and he wanted his own people, and he still does. And what ensued as a result during the World Cup was a number of firings and potential hirings in the PCB, changes with the media management of the PCB, changes with a very few dear friends that we have who were sacked or effectively benched or sent back to Pakistan.
Fakhar Zaman.
Yes. We had people playing the right matches, but a little too late. And then we have this huge campaign against the captain of the Pakistan cricket team, the legend whose 952-day streak was just ended as the number one batter in ODI by Shubman Gill. A huge campaign against him, not from the outside, not from India, not from any other team, but from inside
The heart of Babar Azam.
the heart of Pakistan cricket, which is the PCB.
The PCB.
Allegedly. Where you had journalists who were on payroll or allegedly on payroll, who are still being instigated to run a campaign against Babar Azam to dethrone him as a captain.
Journalists like Majid Bhatti not being able to recognize Sana Mir on the book written by our very dear friend Ayush Patran, Unveiling Jazba, and getting laughed at consequently by all the
Everyone,
journalists, everyone. I mean, we were laughing.
did
Harsha
a
Bhogle
show
laughed as
where
well.
he said that nothing is more incompetent than the people who run Pakistan cricket.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the bottom line is not only that we played badly, which we did, but it's also that there is so much turmoil in the midst of this tournament within Pakistan
Why are we
cricket,
talking like Shakespeare?
which hitherto has caused thy glory to plummet.
Yeah, what he said. So, खैर बहुत disappointing रहा है. I know हम दोनों ने वर्ल्ड कप से पहले predictions दी थी. तुम्हारी तो बिल्कुल null and void. Completely
पाकिस्तान
null
जीत
and
गया.
void. Pakistan has won hearts, if anything.
इंडिया को आप different balls दे रहे हैं.
We'll come back to that. My prediction was New Zealand, so I'm still in the running for a victory. And I think India-New Zealand is going to be a good match. Having said that, did the Indian team get different balls or have different balls to begin with?
अच्छा इसका context भी बताना पड़ेगा मेरा ख्याल है हमें लोगों को.
हाँ yes, please explain.
यार एक फर्स्ट क्लास क्रिकेटर है, मुझे नाम भूल गया उनका कौन थे. उन्होंने पाकिस्तानी शो पर आके स्पोर्ट शो पर आके रिसेंटली कहा है कि
I don't think he was a first class cricketer.
आई थिंक खेली भी है और हो सकता है सेंचुरी भी हो उसकी फर्स्ट क्लास में.
That would add legitimacy to a lot of things he says.
Anyway, so the sports analyst, whoever this person was invited to a show and he said that India gets different balls. Or as we like to call it, India has different balls.
Yes.
Which, in the context of the way they're performing, is not untrue. With the kind of bravery and courage they have shown, with the kind of brave and valiant cricket that they have
And versatile.
played. Yes.
Boisterous.
However, the claim was more literal than you would think. उनको वाकई लग रहा था कि असल में जो बॉल्स का टोकरा है उसके अंदर इंडिया को डिफरेंट बॉल्स दी जाती हैं जिसकी वजह से उनकी बॉलिंग बेहतर है और वो उन्हीं पिचेस के ऊपर इस तरह बॉलिंग करा रहे हैं जैसे न्यूजीलैंड या साउथ अफ्रीका या इंग्लैंड की पिचेस हो. और एक जगह पर हम हैं
just giving a free B after a free B.
B's.
ये भी समझाना पड़ेगा.
ये शोएब अख्तर के कॉल है. फ्री बीज को उन्होंने a free
B's
कहा था.
तो you can look at I think this was in the same fight he had with Dog. So you can so that video has a lot to offer. You guys need to slow down and kind of listen.
We might link it in the description.
I think we might do a proper review of it someday.
हाँ क्योंकि उसमें बहुत सारे रेफरेंसेस हैं जो हम इस्तेमाल करते हैं. बट हाँ खैर तो इतना अच्छा खेल रही है इंडिया कि आपको ये भी क्वेश्चन करना पड़ गया कि उनको बॉल्स वही दी जा रही है, इक्विपमेंट वही दी जा रही है, या यू नो लाइक समथिंग इज गोइंग ऑन
which they call home advantage in other places actually.
I mean they've played better than home advantage even, you know, like I've seen teams choke under pressure
And choke generally.
As well, especially if they have a different set of balls given to them. But not India. India has been prolific. To make a comparison, Pakistan has lost how many games, excluding the England one?
4
out of 7.
4 out of 9, so each team playing 9.
4 out of 9.
Yeah,
8 अभी. अगर हम England count ना करें तो, because the match is ongoing. But by the time you see it, they've probably lost 5. But India has won all 9 of them. So there is no team right now in the world, and every team has played with India that can beat this team. And it seems like they are well on their way to win the World Cup. However, they have a reputation with World Cups and knockout stages.
Especially against New Zealand.
हाँ पिछली दफा भी न्यूजीलैंड से हारे थे ना. Was that New Zealand?
19, yeah. Lost over the course of 2 days.
Yeah.
The light
2
was
दिन
not
मैच
enough.
हुआ था.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is your takeaway from this World Cup before we move on to the knockout stages? How did you find this World Cup to be? Like in general, compared to other World Cups?
I think it's probably the most boring one I've seen. I wasn't ever personally a fan of the 2015 World Cup either. I think the aura and the setup around it was great, but the lead up to the whole World Cup was really bad. मतलब महीने पहले तक आपको schedule का नहीं पता था. I remember Australia में जब World Cup हुआ था, even England में, I think that the matches were announced and venues were announced a year in advance.
Yeah.
So it just shows the lack of planning. Plus the wickets, I mean, it's not fun watching 400 runs happen every other game. Like it's just not.
Yeah.
It's always better to see good bowling pitches. I think the World Cup in England was really good to watch. Very very close games. जो हमें इस tournament में बिल्कुल नहीं मिली. आप कम runs के साथ एक अच्छी bowling pitch के ऊपर एक close game कर सकते हो. एक अच्छी batting pitch के ऊपर you probably won't get a lot, because if you're putting 400, 350, 400 on the board every time, I mean, one team will like the margin of error really goes down. There's no opportunity to come back into the game. Like, speaking of coming back into the game, though, Australia versus Afghanistan was, I think, the highlight for me in this entire tournament. There wasn't really much going for us.
Yeah, I mean that was a crazy match. In case you missed it, Australia had to chase 300 and I don't know 50 something, 300 something,
292.
292.
I think.
So somewhere around that, and they were down 79 for 5.
Down and out.
Yeah.
Down and out.
So Australia was
97
losing,
for 7.
Yeah, 97 for 7. So Australia was losing this match to Afghanistan, which would be a huge upset.
Yeah.
But then came in a cricketer called
Matthew Maxwell.
Matthew
I just
Maxwell.
made that up.
Okay. Glenn Maxwell, who started off by stabilizing the score and the fall of wickets, putting a stop to it, but then somehow ended up scoring 200 runs, not out, all by himself.
Yeah, 201 not out with
winning
cramps. Yeah.
with cramps. Undertaker बन गया था वो.
Undertaker बन गया था बीच में.
But without any feat, he achieved a great feat, and he beat Afghanistan single-handedly by making a double century in what most people have hailed as the greatest.
What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
As the greatest ODI victory that the greatest ODI innings anyone has ever played. I don't know why he laughed though.
Why are you talking like that? You're putting me to sleep.
It's super fun to watch Fidel Castro going to sleep. Right.
Those are my biceps.
This is a shout out to my brother. He doesn't watch, so I don't think it matters. I mean, at this point, no one watches to this point.
As the stats have told.
Yeah.
I think we're the only one who will watch it. Anyway, the World Cup is over, and
I mean for us,
but the World Cup itself is also over. India will probably win, and
we don't know that.
We'll just wait for the next 4 years. In the next 2 years, have the Champions Trophy rescheduled into the UAE and Sri Lanka, maybe, and then we'll move on to the World Cup in South Africa, ODI World Cup in South Africa, where South Africa will probably be favourites, and because the home team is winning everywhere. So I think what's really to look forward to is the T20 World Cup in the USA and the West Indies now.
वो कब हो रहा है? USA में है?
USA and the West Indies. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's when you should go.
That would be fun, actually. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to good test matches now.
Yeah, getting thrashed in Australia.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
उसमें I think एक आध spell वो आ जाएगा ना.
June 2024.
Naseem's not playing, by the way. Naseem's not playing the Australia Test Series, and I think having said all that, the only thing I want to end with is that freedom will be ours.